Welcome to the Adult Foster Care Division's video training on admission and discharge policies in adult foster care homes. In this short video, we will discuss the Adult Foster Care Administrative Licensing Rules pertaining to written admission and discharge policies. According to Rule ending in 687, Sub-Rule 1, a licensee shall have a written admission and discharge policy and shall make both available to a resident and resident's designated representative. An applicant or licensee shall maintain their admission policy and program statement and make them available to the department upon request. A properly written admission policy will include the following items: the facility's purpose, the resident's eligibility requirements for admission, the facility's fees as a condition of admission, and the application procedures for admission. According to Rule ending in 623, Sub-Rule 4, a licensee and administrator's experience must align with the population identified in the facility's program statement and admission policy. Note: family homes are not required to have an administrator. A licensee and administrator shall complete annual training based on the license issue date. They are to complete either 16 hours of training accepted by the department that is relevant to the licensee's admission policy and program statement, or 6 credit hours at an accredited college or university in an area that is relevant to the licensee's admission policy and program statement as accepted by the department, or a combination of both that totals 16 hours. A discharge policy is a written statement of the conditions and procedures by which a resident is discharged from a facility. There are adult foster care administrative licensing rules pertaining to the discharge of residents. These requirements must be included in the licensee's written discharge policy. According to Rule ending in 687, Sub-Rule 4, a licensee shall provide a resident and resident's designated representative with a 30-day written notice before discharge from the facility. The notice must state the reasons for discharge, and a copy of it be sent to the resident's designated representative and responsible agency. The provisions of this sub-rule do not preclude a licensee from providing other legal notice as required by law. Sub-Rule 5 indicates that a licensee may discharge a resident before the 30-day notice when it has been documented that there is a substantial risk or occurrence of any of the following: an inability to meet the resident's needs, an inability to provide adequate safety and well-being of others, self-destructive behavior, serious physical assault, and destruction of property. If a licensee discharges a resident before the 30-day notice, as indicated in Rule ending in 687, Sub-Rule 5, the licensee shall take all of the following steps: notify the resident, resident's designated representative, responsible agency, and the adult foster care licensing consultant, not less than 24 hours before discharge in writing, and include all of the following: the reason for discharge including the specific nature of the risk, alternatives to discharge that have been attempted by the facility, and the location where the resident will be discharged if known. Notify Adult Protective Services in the Department of Health and Human Services not less than 24 hours before discharge if the resident does not have a resident's designated representative or responsible agency. A resident shall not be discharged until an appropriate setting that meets the resident's immediate needs is located. If the department finds that a resident was improperly discharged, the resident has the right to return to the first available bed in the facility. A licensee shall not discharge a resident to a setting without an address or to a hospital emergency department. A licensee shall not admit a resident to another location without the written approval of the resident, resident's designated representative, and responsible agency if applicable. A licensee shall not restrict a resident's ability to make their own living arrangements, and a licensee shall provide copies of resident records when requested by the resident and resident's designated representative. A fee that is charged for copies of resident records must not be more than the cost to make the copies. According to Rule ending in 685, Sub-Rule 6, a licensee shall complete a written resident care agreement at the time of a resident's admission that includes, in part, the facility's discharge policy. The resident care agreement must also include an agreement by the licensee and resident or the resident's designated representative to follow the facility's discharge policy. A copy of the facility's written admission and discharge policies are to be given to the prospective resident and/or their authorized representative upon their admission into the facility. Thank you for watching our video training on admission and discharge policies in adult foster care homes. Applicants and licensees may use the division's templates to create their own policies. A link to these templates are located in the information box below this video. See you soon!